A teenager leaves home for school. A businessman boards a train. A woman goes for a walk. A child disappears from a playground. Most of them come back. Some are found within hours, others within days. But a small number of people simply vanish. No answers, no body, no explanation. Sometimes, despite massive searches, thousands of volunteers, surveillance cameras, police investigations, and years of effort, they are never found. How can someone disappear forever in the modern world, with cameras everywhere, phones in every pocket, GPS tracking, bank cards, and the internet watching almost everything we do? The answer is more complicated than most people think. And sometimes, people disappear because they want to. Investigators often say the same thing. The first 24 hours matter more than everything else, not because a magical deadline exists, but because every minute destroys information. Witnesses forget details, security footage gets overwritten, phones run out of battery, people move, cars move, evidence disappears. A person living their home today can travel hundreds of miles before anyone realizes something is wrong. By the time the search begins, the trail may already be cold, and every hour makes the search exponentially harder. When people think about missing persons, they usually imagine crime, kidnapping, murder, abduction. But many disappearances begin with a choice. Some people simply decide to leave. No warning, no goodbye, no explanation. They leave behind jobs, friends, families, sometimes even children. Psychologists have documented cases where people disappear during periods of severe stress, depression, debt, trauma, or personal crisis. For some, disappearing feels easier than confronting their problems. It sounds rational, but human beings are not always rational, especially when they feel trapped. One of the most famous examples is John Darwin. In 2002, the British man was believed to have died in a canoeing accident. A huge search operation followed. His family mourned. Insurance payments were made. The case appeared closed. But 5 years later, John Darwin walked in a police station alive. He had secretly been living under a false identity. The entire death had been staged. The purpose? Money, and a chance to start over. His disappearance fooled investigators, family members, and even parts of the media, because sometimes the missing person isn't lost, they are hiding. Unfortunately, not everyone who disappears chooses to do so. Every year people vanish during hikes, boating trips, camping expeditions, road trips. Natural environments are far more dangerous than most people realize. A person can become disoriented in a forest within minutes. In open wilderness, even experienced hikers have disappeared without leaving a trace. The ocean is even more unforgiving. A single accident can erase nearly all evidence, and nature rarely gives answers back. Sometimes a missing person case remains unsolved not because investigators failed, but because the environment destroyed every clue. In September 2007, 14-year-old Andrew Gosden left his home in England. He withdrew his money, bought a one-way ticket to London, and disappeared. CCTV cameras captured him arriving at King's Cross station. Then nothing. No confirmed sightings, no verified communication, no clear explanation. More than a decade later, investigators still do not know exactly what happened. Andrew's case remains one of the most famous missing person mysteries in modern Britain, and it demonstrates something unsettling. Sometimes a person only needs a few hours to completely vanish. Most people will never become a missing person, but there are lessons hidden inside these stories. Tell people where you're going, share travel plans, keep emergency contacts updated, teach children what to do if they become separated from their parents, teach them who can they trust, and never assume someone will immediately notice you are missing, because in reality, people are often reported missing much later than they should be, and by then, precious time has already been lost. Could someone disappear today and start a completely new life? The answer is both, yes and no. Technology makes disappearing harder than ever. Phones, cameras, financial records, social media, but technology also creates noise. Billions of people move through modern society every day. Most of them are strangers, and among enough strangers, it is still possible to hide. Not easily, not forever, but sometimes long enough. Most missing people are eventually found. Some walk back through their front door, some are discovered years later, and some cases remain mysterious forever. Not because nobody looked, not because nobody cared, but because sometimes all it takes to disappear is a few missed calls, a few lost hours, and one decision that nobody saw coming. And once the trail is gone, it may never be found again.